What's up, YouTube? Today is day 6 post-op surgery for having my breast augmentation. So I'm coming on here just to update y'all on how things went and kind of where we're at right now, and then possibly moving forward and answering some of your questions that you did have about my surgery. But first of all, I want to start with this video and just say how grateful I am and how much I appreciate all the words of encouragement, best wishes, get well soon, prayers. It's just all the positivity that I receive from a lot of you. It really does mean a lot. So thank you so much for your support in my decision, and I just really do appreciate it. So I was constantly receiving those messages like a couple of days before my surgery, and then I got a lot of them the day of my surgery, because a lot of you remembered what day it actually was. And I just want to say that I appreciate each and every one of you so much, and just thank you so much just for being so supportive. So just want to go ahead and throw that out there. So yeah, I had my breast augmentation on January 25th, which was this past Friday. So it's been 6 days now, and just kind of backing up towards the beginning of just kind of the whole process of how all this went down. I had my consultation on January 3rd, at the beginning of this year, and I just pretty much was just going in there just to basically decide right then and there, like, is this going to be for me? Because as I mentioned in one of my previous videos, I've always fantasized about getting a breast augmentation. I just never actually took the next step and did it. I really wish I just would have done this sooner, a lot sooner, but I have always thought about it. I've always contemplated it. I've just never actually taken it seriously and done the next step about having a consultation and actually getting it done. That was one of my goals I wanted to do at the beginning of this year, is if I truly want to get a breast augmentation in my lifetime, this is going to be the year that I make a consultation and make that decision for myself. I want to go ahead and get it done right away, so that way I get it done at the, out of the way and have plenty of time to recover. And then whether I jump into a bikini competition prep or jump into powerlifting prep or anything like that, I just want to have ample amount of time throughout the year just to recover before deciding what was my next goal that I was going to be doing regarding fitness. So yes, I went to my consultation January 3rd. I went to head and plastic surgery in Birmingham, Alabama. I did a lot of research of doctors just within the area and whatnot, and their place just seemed to stand out the most, at least within Alabama area. And they had a lot of great reviews and everything. Actually, they're both doctors. I initially was thinking I would go with Dr. Hedden, but I actually went with one of his doctors who work alongside him, Dr. Gunn. So I actually went and saw Stephen Gunn in Birmingham, Alabama. Had a consultation with him. We went over everything. He answered all my questions. I tried on all kinds of different sizes of different like CCs or different like breast sizes with a bra, just to kind of see what would be best for my body type. I ultimately decided then at the consultation what size I would go with. And after just kind of addressing all my concerns and questions, it really didn't take any time for me to decide, like, okay, you know what, I am ready for this. It really didn't take me long after the consultation that day to decide that this is for me. I'm going to do this, and we're going to do it right away. And I think that literally that day I came back home and already started planning out where would be the best spot in my calendar. So I went ahead and looked ahead, like when was my next working weekend in January, when was I going to be off next, and what was going to be like as soon as possible, but also enough time to make arrangements to get off work. And I just ultimately decided, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and get it done. If I can't get it off my mind and this is something I want to do, why wait any longer? Let's go ahead and do it this month. So I decided to get it done right away. I scheduled my appointment for January 25th. So Friday, January 25th came up really, really quick. Like normal, I couldn't have anything past 12 o'clock, where in my instance, I couldn't have anything past 10 p.m. Thursday night, because I was scheduled to arrive at the surgery center at 6:15 in the morning. So really early, we had to leave here at Auburn around 4 a.m. because it takes like an hour and 40 minutes to get to Birmingham from Auburn. So we left around 4 a.m., got there at 6:15, and went through the process of like checking in and everything. Had to pee in a cup. They require you to do that. All females do that to make sure you're not pregnant. The check-in process was really quick. Before I knew it, probably the whole check-in process probably took about 30 minutes before they actually called me back, and already started to like go over everything, just kind of confirm how many CCs I wanted, what kind of placement of the surgery we were going to have, up under the muscle, over the muscle. They did all the markings, everything on me. They went ahead and hooked me up to anesthesia IVs and like really just got the ball going on it. And it went so fast. I remember the anesthesiologist nurse, you know, he was super nice. He was super cool, asked me all kinds of questions as he was putting the IV and everything in my arm. And before long, after confirming with Dr. Gunn what we were doing and if we were ready to go, we got the ball rolling. I remember the nurse, the anesthesiologist nurse, I just remember that he injected the anesthesia where we were still in the exam room. I remember saying goodbye to Cody, like, I love you, you know, best wishes or whatnot. And we walked down the hallway, walked right into the operating room, already saw the operating table, all the lights, all the instruments and everything. And I just remember thinking in my head, like, wow, this is real. This is really happening. And got on table, got adjusted, and of course the nurse and everything was just like, are you starting to feel the medicine any at all? And at the time I was like, no, I don't think so, because I was still very coherent. I was still carrying on conversation with him. And apparently before I knew it, I was waking up out of surgery, and it happened that fast. I just remember coming to, and I remember the nurse zipping up the front of my sports bra, because the type of bra that I'm wearing or that I had put on after surgery that I'm still wearing now is a front zipper type sports bra. I remember her just kind of calling my name, getting me to come to, taking a sip of water. And I remember them saying like, okay, when we stand up to get in the wheelchair, we're going to pull your pants up. And I remember feeling the pants down like at my knees and trying my darnest to pick my foot up and put them in the little pedals of the wheelchair. And I just remember just feeling obviously groggy, but just feeling this extreme like tightness on my chest and feeling like I couldn't breathe. Like it was like as I was coming to, I was realizing that, oh my gosh, like I can't breathe because it was so tight and it felt so heavy, and it felt like that somebody was just like constricting my lungs or something. I just didn't know how to describe it, but I couldn't like catch my breath. I remember hearing the nurses say, like, we were rolling down the hallway and they opened the big doors and there's Cody, you know, waiting for me in my truck. And they were like, she did so good. Everything went so great. And they like loaded me up in the truck and that was it. It went by so fast, the surgery. I think Cody said that, you know, they called me back and I went into surgery. They gave him my prescriptions and he went and drove to a Walgreens within town. Shortly after that, they called him and said that I was out of surgery and then I was in the recovery room, and he said that I was probably in surgery for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half at most. Like the surgery went by so fast. I just remember getting in the truck and just feeling like I can't breathe, I can't move. I didn't want to move because I could feel like this. It felt like, all I can remember was that it felt like somebody had taken my chest and was just like pulling it as hard as they could apart, like almost like spreading my chest muscles apart, and somebody just like sitting on me, like an elephant sitting on me. And the pressure of it and the tightness felt so constricting that I felt like I couldn't, you know how like occasionally you just need to take like a big like sigh to catch your breath. I couldn't do that, and I kept taking these short like labored breaths, like that's all I remember doing. Like I can't breathe and I couldn't talk. It took everything I could to like have some kind of voice come out of me. I just kept whispering because I was so just like, I couldn't breathe. I just know how like what other way to say it. And I remember Cody, you know, trying to feed me crackers in the truck, trying to give me a sip of water. I think I immediately took one of my pain medicines and a nausea medicine. So the pain medicines the medicines that they gave me was a pain medicine, muscle relaxer, something for nausea, and then an antibiotic. So I went ahead and took the pain and the nausea medicine just in case, because I didn't want to, I wasn't in pain necessarily, I just couldn't breathe. And it was just really uncomfortable. Like I couldn't move in the truck. That's just mainly what I'll remember. And so we eventually get home, we get in the Auburn area, and now granted I hadn't eaten or drank anything since the night before, probably like 8 p.m. on Thursday night. I hadn't drank or ate anything. That was like around the last time that I ate something, because I went to bed like around 9 o'clock. I didn't really have an appetite. Like I was hungry because it had been like a full day, but I I just really didn't have an appetite, but it just sounded good just to have like a milkshake. I just wanted a milkshake. So we went by Chick-fil-A and got me a chocolate milkshake. I was able to get that down really quick, and I just remember that just was so refreshing just to drink that milkshake. I get home, we get situated, and just basically the recliner became my best friend for the next couple of days. The first 24 to 48 hours was the worst. Definitely the first 24 hours was the worst. As mentioned, I didn't really have any pain. It was just extremely uncomfortable, and it took me a long time to really feel like that I could catch my breath, I guess. And I needed complete assistance getting up and down from sitting position or laying position. But the recliner was my best bet because I needed to be kind of sitting up at like an upright position. And oh, my neck pillow was my best friend. I had a neck, like an you know, you'd have like in the airport, like a neck pillow to help support me, so if I did fall asleep, you know, it wouldn't hurt my neck so much. I eventually took the rest of my medicine, which I had something on my stomach, and it had been a couple of hours. But I just tried to just relax and not move as much. That was my intent, was because I was so uncomfortable, I didn't want to move, and I didn't want to cause any pain if I didn't have to. But the first like 24 hours were pretty difficult. And like I said, I was so dependent on Cody for everything, even as far as just like raising my arms or anything. I had never been so dependent on somebody in my entire life. And I'm a pretty independent person. I like to do everything on my own, and most people know that about me. I'm really stubborn about when it comes to things like that. But I was like at his mercy. I was so humbled and so dependent on him and so grateful for him. And bless his heart, he had already taken half of the day. The day of my surgery, he was actually supposed to go to work, and he had already taken half of his work day because my surgery was going to be in the morning. And we kind of felt pretty confident that once I kind of got settled into the house and everything, that about the time that he would have to go into work that night, that I should be fine. But he just didn't feel comfortable leaving me because I was having such a hard time just even, you know, any type of movement. I needed his assistance. Any type of, just any need that I needed for myself at that time, like I needed his assistance, and he just didn't feel comfortable leaving me. So he ended up calling out of work, which I felt so bad for because I already, you know, made arrangements with work to accommodate me, and then he just had to call out for the rest of the night because of me. But I was very grateful that he did, because like I said, if I had to get up and pee or anything, I couldn't. I was just stuck. Anywhere I was stuck in a position, because you don't realize how much chest muscles that you use, or like abs that you use in like your everyday type movement. Just things like that you just don't realize or you take for granted. Basically, for like the first 2 to 3 days, so Friday was my surgery. Saturday, I was pretty much just immobile completely. Sunday, pretty much the same as well. It was getting better though every day. The tightness was a little bit better, but it was still very hard for me to get up and down on my own. By Monday, I was pretty much wiggling or maneuvering my way to like sit up and down on my own at that point. But I think it was Sunday or either Monday evening, I tried to sleep in the bed, and which he got me down, but in the middle of the night, or I guess early in the morning, I actually called him because he was sleeping on the couch, but he had his phone loud. I actually called him because I was so uncomfortable. Like I started like kind of getting pain because I was laying flat on my back in bed, but I had to get up and pee, but I couldn't get out of bed. Like I couldn't move. It hurt. So I actually had to call him to help me up. So from then, I just continued to sleep in a recliner, because at least in the recliner, I'm in an upright position, and I can like kind of maneuver my way out on my own at that point. It was a struggle definitely the first couple of days, but every day it's gotten better. I've gotten less sore. It's gotten less tight. I didn't actually see my new boobies, I think Sunday night when I showered since my surgery. Now granted, I've had on this sports bra this whole time, and like I was so fearful about taking it off because I just knew like the weight and like the pressure would like just pull down on my chest, and it did. Like taking a shower was really uncomfortable. Like even though the sports bra has bruised me because of all the swelling and the bloating that I've had, but mainly from the swelling of my upper chest, it's like cut into me, and I have like bruises and like almost like ulcerations kind of from it being so tight. But so it felt good to like relieve that part, but then I didn't like it at the same time because my boobies felt very vulnerable, or they felt like they were just pulling on my chest. But I was able to get up and walk around. I think on Sunday I walked for a little bit. That ended up being more difficult than I anticipated. I was supposed to, you know, walk as often as I can, just for a few minutes each day, just so I'm not like completely bedridden or anything, just to help get fluids moving, get the swelling and bloating to help go down, get your digestive system moving, just kind of helping prevent any like blood clotting or anything like that. But you can't walk too much as to cause like excess stress and bleeding or late bleeding that may happen. But just walking a little bit around outside was so, I get winded very easily, and it's very sore on my breast. I guess just the being upright for so long, or like walking around and just like the pounding of your feet on the ground, it makes them sore, and they get real achy, and I feel like they swell again. But I've been icing my boobs. One of my best friends from Kansas, she sent me a new boobie care package in the mail. So I had all kinds of goodies and whatnot from her. I got a big box of all kinds of goodies. So I've really been enjoying that. And they came with these really cool ice packs that like laid perfectly like on your breasts and like around your chest. Those have been a lifesaver. Really appreciative of those. Today is day number 6. I officially go back to work today, which I am terrified about doing because, as you know, I don't have like a typical like sit down desk job. I have a very physical, demanding job as a retail pharmacist, and just all the excessive standing and walking around that I'm going to be doing will be the most that I have done, the most activity that I've done thus far since my operation. And I work all this weekend. At least today is a shorter shift. I switched to one of my pharmacists. I'm only working a 6-hour shift tonight from 4 to 10 p.m. I'm just so used to, when I feel like I've been walking around and maneuvering around too much, to coming home and laying down and icing my boobs and, you know, taking an anti-inflammatory and just relaxing when I feel like it's too much, or it's being too sore, or they're like too achy for me. But I'm not going to be able to do that at work. So I'm really going to have to make some adjustments and take it easy, and really just rely a lot on my technicians to do a lot of the work, because I'm definitely one of those people that try to do everything in the pharmacy, and I run around like a spaz and like a chicken with its head cut off a lot because I try to do everything and I don't know how to slow down. I'm really going to have to remind myself to take it easy and just listen to my body and make myself take a break. I don't know how, because we don't get breaks as a pharmacist, but I'll just have to find a way to like sit down for a moment when I can. And I actually drove for the first time yesterday. So day 5, I haven't really driven at all, but I had to drive to Troy, Alabama, which is about 2 hours away, for a work meeting. So I didn't actually work yesterday. I just had to drive to Troy for a meeting. So that was the first time that I really drove for a long time, and it was really uncomfortable. Driving is still like not 100% there yet, just because of all the turning and stuff that gets really sore on my boobs, as you can imagine. But so to answer some of the questions I've been getting about as far as what I ended up getting, how big I got, and placement and all that. So I ended up going with silicone material for my breast augmentation, and I ended up going up under the muscle. And the reason why I chose those is because silicone, especially the newest technology of the silicone, is a lot safer than it used to be. So like if there's ever a chance that it ruptures in the body, which is now is like unheard of, because the technology of the breast implant has improved so much that it's more of like a gum, or it's kind of like what they call the gummy bear. If you've been seeing like gummy bear implants, that's kind of what it is. But if it ever leaks in the body, it doesn't like spread to the body, it doesn't absorb into the body like the old one does. It actually just stays in place like a gummy material, and it just stays there. So it's not as toxic to the body as it used to be. The silicone is actually it feels more like a natural breast tissue. So that was the other reason why I wanted to get it. And you don't see like the rippling, like for a lot of saline breast implants, especially if they get above the muscle, you can see like the rippling of the implant. And I just didn't want that. I just wanted the most natural looking implant that I could get. And I like that smoother, rounder look as opposed to like a teardrop or what I call a torpedo booby. I didn't want that at all. I ended up going up under the muscle. So for me, for being like an athlete or a fitness person, that was what a majority of the people that I actually spoke to and asked, or that I did all the research for, that they got underneath the muscle, and that was like the best placement as far as for athletes or fitness people. I don't know if that's 100%, but for my friends that do have up under the muscle who are like hardcore into working out and everything, they've never had any problem with that. No issues, no pain, no weird movement or anything of their implants, and they've had them for years. And also underneath the muscle is going to give you more of that natural look as well versus going on top of the muscle. So I decided to go up under the muscle route. The size that I went with was 450 cc's. Now, that's going to sound really big. If you go and do research, you're going to find all kinds of different sizes on all kinds of different size people. And that was my first initial thought as well, was that, wow, that's going to be really huge for a person of my size. And the reason why I went with that size is because when I went into my consultation, I tried on the different sizes of the different types of implants. And I tried on anywhere from, I think, 300 cc's to 550, and I only went to 550 because one of my friends in the gym, who is also a bikini competitor, and she is like super duper like jacked, but she's like my size as well. She has 550 cc's, and I could not believe that she has that big of implants because they don't look overly big on her. Like, they look great on her. And I couldn't believe that, because that is the biggest size that I had heard in person that I know from somebody. And she's like my size. And everyone else that I know are, you know, they're not my size. They're bigger than me. And they don't have that big of implants. So that's why I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds so big. And even 450 at the time sounded big for me. But after going in there and trying on different sizes, and kind of having some of the opinion from the nurse and the doctor, and my doctor, they said that if I was to go with like 350 or below, it would really be pointless, and I really wouldn't be getting my money's worth, because if you're going to get a breast augmentation, like, you want to get your money's worth. And they said like 99% of women who get breast augmentation always say they wish they would have gone bigger when they get out of surgery. That the ones who go on more on the conservative side always say they wish they would have gone bigger. And I just didn't want to come out of there wishing that I wish I had gone bigger. So I kind of went on the more upper end of the range I was thinking. So I was kind of toying between like 350 and 450. And they both kind of encouraged me to go with the upper end. And he even said that 450 to 500 range would probably be the maximum for me anyways, versus of how much breast tissue I already had to work with, how much muscle I had on my chest and my rib cage, just kind of the structure of my chest wall and how I was built. And they take all this into consideration. And there's so many things to consider like that from person to person. So that's why you can't really compare, you know, oh, well, this person is my size and she got this many, you know, cc's. That breast amount or those cc's may not look, you know, as good or look the same or look as fitting on you. So it's really hard to compare like breast implant cc's to cc's on different people. Like, at this time, I don't know what size I'm going to be as far in terms of cup size. You can't really compare like a cc to a cup size, but in general, I think they say that like 200 cc's is a cup size. So I'm kind of anticipating that I'm going to be like either pushing a C, almost a D cup size, if I had to guess, for me. But I won't know until they've dropped, because right now they're like way up here, and they're still swollen and still hard. I haven't gone through the process of like massaging them down or anything, and that will take months before. So it'll be probably about 6 months before I really know like what size that they end up being on me. But yeah, so that was what I went with. I got 450 cc's under the muscle. As far as a level of activity of what I'm supposed to do right now, so for the first like 2 to 3 weeks, I'm not supposed to do any type of exercise. Anything that involves moving a lot of hand or arm movement, which is funny because that's like all that my job is. So I'll have to be, again, extremely cautious when I'm at work. but nothing like cleaning the house or picking up the vacuum. I can't lift anything that's over 10 pounds. So for the first 2 weeks, I can't lift anything that's over 10 pounds. So like about the weight of a milk gallon. So nothing like that, which I'm pretty sure I've already pushed that rule already a couple of times, but again, it's been an adjustment for me, okay? But yeah, for the first couple of weeks, I can't do any type of aerobic activity, nothing that involves lifting anything above 10 pounds or more. I think I go to my 3-week post-op follow-up on February 14th, Valentine's Day. But after that, I should be cleared to kind of ease back into the gym. So at that time, I can start doing like light cardio, and I think lower body, just light lower body exercises, and then from there we can progress up. But I don't believe I can do any upper body workout until at least 6 weeks. So any workouts that I do in the gym are all going to be lower body. And I think typically like 5 or 6 weeks is about when they usually clear people to start doing like upper body exercises. And again, it's very lightweight. You're just kind of gauging, you know, like your range of motion, kind of what feels uncomfortable or comfortable for you, but just not pushing it and, you know, not being aggressive. So it's been an adjustment for me already. It's going to be a long recovery, but so far I'm getting better each and every day. Like I said, the tightness and the soreness is improving with each day as it comes. It's really been a great recovery. It honestly has. Haven't had any complications, and I'm praying and hoping that it stays that way. But this video is already so long as like I knew it was going to be. I just can't shorten these type videos, okay? And I know there's been like a couple more questions and everything asked, which I'll probably address more in depth in another video. But I just kind of wanted to give y'all an update on how things went, the whole procedure, what I ended up getting, and just kind of like where I'm at right now. Still lots of recovery days ahead of me. Just doing very minimal, light, you know, small walks of about 5 to 10 minute walks here and there. But I'm sure I won't really have to force myself to do that as far as with work, because at work is an exercise all in its own. I just want to say thank you again for all your support, all your best wishes, all your prayers. It has really helped me out, and I look forward to seeing y'all in the next video. So I'm gonna go to work, and I will be seeing y'all pretty soon. Bye, y'all.